that sexual orientation, gender identity are not relevant in cases of employment. Again, good employee, hire; bad employee, fire. I can talk about the 14th Amendment and equal protection under the laws. I think that this is the direction the courts are going, but currently we do need this in Virginia because it's not part of our constitutional jurisprudence just yet, although increasingly in state after state, this is where it's going. I don't think anyone should be put out of housing because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. I don't think anyone should be denied public accommodations because of sexual orientation or gender identity. Martin Luther King, to paraphrase Dr. King, said we should be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin, and I dare say Dr. King would agree, nor by religion, sex, pregnancy, national origin, age, disability, or sexual orientation or gender identity. And I know there are a number of people that support this bill, and I'd like to hear from them, please.
Thank you, Delegate Levine. Any questions from the committee? All right, those speak for the bill.
Chairman James with Equality Virginia. Thank you, Delegate Levine, for submitting this bill. We think that passage of this bill is important because what it does is it creates an inclusive commonwealth, and in a commonwealth where all are welcome to live, work, and play. And as a representative of the LGBT community, we want to make sure that gay and transgender people can find employment, find housing, and have access to all accommodations free from discrimination. And taking action on this bill will be a great step in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? See, we have a long line. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Claire Esniaga on behalf of the ACLU of Virginia. We strongly support this addition to the Human Rights Act. I think one of the things that we don't know or recognize is that we really don't have codified protections for anyone. And this extends codified protections to everyone, including people who are now covered by a governor's executive order and beyond to people who are not covered by that order. And we think it's sensible. It reflects the policies in place at almost every major employer in Virginia, and we think that the Commonwealth as a major employer in Virginia ought to be following the same policies. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Helen Hardiman with Housing Opportunities Made Equal. We're a nonprofit fair housing organization. We certainly support the addition of these important protections in the state fair housing law because who you love should not determine where you can live.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Troy Murphy with the Northern Virginia Technology Council. I'll be quick, and we support this legislation and echo what others have said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Anna Scholl with Progress Virginia. I will echo the previous comments and just say that we believe that everyone in Virginia should have the opportunity to succeed no matter who they are or whom they love, and we hope you'll support the legislation.
Thank you. All right, those to speak in opposition. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Chris Friend Family Foundation of Virginia. Delegate Levine, I agree with one of the statements you made. Absolutely, completely. Employment should be based on ability and someone's actual activity in their employment. Unfortunately, this bill does just the opposite and creates categories of different individuals and puts businesses at risk of firing someone because they're a bad employee and then getting blamed for another reason. I want to point out a couple of things. Four localities in Virginia that currently have similar policies on their books, and since the last 6 years, we looked back to see how many complaints there have been, and there were a handful in these localities, and 0 complaints, 0 were actually proven to be true. And so our argument basically is that this is not necessarily a problem in Virginia that needs a solution. And our concern is that should this become law, since there isn't evidence of discrimination based on data, that it's instead going to be used to punish those who don't have a viewpoint that the government accepts. And so we would urge you to oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Jeff Caruso with the Virginia Catholic Conference. We too oppose the legislation. we don't think it's the right policy for the Commonwealth. And in particular, we think that mission-based organizations should be permitted to make mission-based decisions. For example, when it comes to decisions based on our particular beliefs about marriage. So again, we ask you to oppose the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right.
May I briefly respond, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I promise to be brief, just to address the issues that were raised. The issue of the gentleman from Family Foundation said he's afraid we won't be able to fire bad employees or else we'll be able to sue. Well, if you fire a bad employee who happens to be of a different race, you can do that under the law. But if you do it because of his or her race, yes, he or she can sue. If you fire a bad employee based on religion or sex or pregnancy or national origin or age, they can sue. But they have to prove that you did it based on this improper purpose. Otherwise, yes, of course you can fire someone who's of a different religion or a different sex. That is already mirrored in the code. So that's no different from any of these other categories: race, color, religion, sex, pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions, national origin, age, marital status, and disability are already included in the code, and Virginia employers have managed to hire good ones and fire bad ones. The other point about no complaints: when something is not against the law, you rarely see complaints, because it is legal to say, oh, you're gay, you're fired in Virginia. Then someone who has heard, oh, I hate gay people, I fire all gay people, doesn't bring a lawsuit, doesn't complain, because they have no rights under the law. This would give them rights under the law, so that's why there have been few complaints. And lastly, I would say that in terms of marriage or views on marriage, this has nothing to do with marriage or views on marriage. This has to do with an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity. You could have a different view on marriage from your employer. This bill does not affect that. Just wanted to respond to this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Levine.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to report the bill.
We have a motion to report. We have a motion to report and properly seconded. Any further discussion from the committee? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? No. Bill fails. Thank you, Delegate Levine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Delegate